Hi there, I'm the PC Expert Amateur. Okay, so the Thermalright Frozen Notte, to all intents and purposes, visually, it is identical in appearance to the Frozen Magic 360 Scenic V2. Since I've still got the Frozen Notte installed in my computer, I'm just going to use this as an example. Comes with the mounting kit for AMD and Intel, as well as thermal paste, a splitter, a 3-to-1 splitter for the fans, and a pump cable to go to the SATA to go to the power supply. It's got an infinity mirror in the block. And as you can see here in just a second, there's the infinity mirror in there. This is the power supply, power cable for the infinity lighting in here. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, because the pump is not in here, and it would not be connected to the same cable anyways, even if it was. Then you have the pump itself. As you can see, is very close to the radiator, so you have to be careful to make sure it's down like this and not at the same level as the top end of the radiator if you mount it this way. And you get a sleeved cable for that, which you can plug into the pump header or to the CPU header if you don't have an alarm on the pump header. And now, one of the only differences that you can see between this one and the Frozen Notte is this one has got 9 blades on each fan, whereas the Frozen Notte has 7 blades, and that does make a difference. 9 blades actually makes a difference because these fans are almost identical, aside from a little difference in the speed and the 2 extra blades. So those 2 extra blades do actually help, and they're very aggressively designed. So you get the PWM cables. Now this one doesn't have ARGB, whereas the Frozen Notte does have ARGB for the fans. So if you want ARGB on the fans, get the Notte instead of the Frozen Magic Scenic version 2. If, however, you want more power, this one's a bit more powerful than the Notte. I'm on medical leave, so I have lots of time to work on my stuff, except for when my undiagnosed medical condition causes me to fall asleep. It only happened once today so far. Didn't happen yesterday. It happened 2 times the day before that. It's very frustrating. I think it's related to fructose, but I'm not really sure yet. I thought it was related to salt, but doesn't seem to be. Salt is another problem for me. Anyways, I am digressing. This is about PCs, not about my health. So sorry. Please forgive me. So let's talk about the Thermalright Frozen Notte 360 water cooler, or AIO. Rather than giving you a very long review, which when I did it this morning and I was half awake, it turned into a very long review. I'm going to break this down into 3 segments. The first segment is the summary of my findings in a general sense. The pros and cons is what it really is. The second is as much information as I can provide you on the specifications of this device. And the third section is my test results that show its performance. Now, since I happen to use this particular AIO to do configuration testing to see where is the best place to put an AIO, tubes up or tubes down, intaking, exhausting, fans mounted on the inside, fans mounted between the case and the radiator, and so on and so forth. This one has extensive data for it. I'm not going to be doing another 40 tests for each subsequent AIO. So this one's got way more data. Now, the and I'm not really sure which one I'm going to use because I have to look at the AIO with the shortest tubes and see where that will actually fit, which is a little bit frustrating because if that means I have to top mount every single AIO, that's going to suck because the top mounting is, unless I can figure out a way to maximize the results on the top, it's the worst place to put my AIO based on my testing. Anyways, so that is what you're going to get in this video, and I hope that you'll find it helpful. All right, so now we can proceed with my summary. First of all, as far as I can tell without taking it apart, which means it could be hiding mixed metals, it could be dirty inside and I can't see that, it could be full of bacteria and fungus that I can't see, but from what I have observed through testing it, it's very well designed. Number one, it's got a very strong pump, 5,300 RPMs max, 1,500 milliliters per minute, 1.6 meter lift, which means it can push the water up 1.6 meters. 1.6 meters, that's probably about 5 feet 10, I think, inches. The fans are decent. 2,000 RPMs, 72.37 CFMs, 2.87 millimeters of water, and 7 blades. Now, the Frozen Magic Scenic V2 is supposed to be a bit better. It has slightly better, the pump is the same. The fans are a little bit faster. I think it's like 2,100 and, let me just look so I don't lie to you. 2,150. It has lower CFMs or airflow and the same static pressure, but it has 9 blades instead of 7 blades on the fan. So apparently those extra 2 blades and that extra little bit of RPMs makes a difference because it ends up doing a slightly better job than this Notte. Now, I do have that Magic Scenic V2. I will be testing it. It will not be the next one to test. I'm going to find one of the ones with the shortest tubes to test them. Okay, also, it's energy efficient compared to some of the other ones. The pump draws 0.12 amps. The fans draw 0.18 amps. The LEDs, it doesn't say. Thermalright is very, very obnoxious when it comes to sharing specs, especially on their website. The website is a horrible resource for specs. Now, the next thing that's good about this is the mean time to failure, or MTTF, or also called MTBF, mean time before failure, or the lifespan. For the pump is 40,000 hours. The fans, nobody knows because Thermalright doesn't publish that information. It has an excellent warranty, however, of 6 years, making that very competitive with companies like Notte and Arctic, for example. The overall unit is highly performant. It doesn't need stronger fans. Now, how can I say that? Because, well, if you've been paying attention to my channel, you would have seen a few months ago that I put up a video that stated, if you swap your fans for stronger fans, your AIO will perform better. Unless the AIO is already developed into such a supremely performant AIO that slapping strong fans on there isn't going to make much of a difference. Now, in the case of the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, STS demonstrated that just by switching from regular P12s to the P12 Maxes, or P14 actually, I think it was, because I think he was using a 280. Yeah, so he used the Maxes or something more powerful instead of the default fan for the Liquid Freezer 3, and demonstrated that it actually made the Liquid Freezer Freezer 3 do better. Now, I took one of the best fans I have, well, the strongest fans I have that are in a 3-pack, which is the Superflower Mega Cools, and I put those on my radiator, and I discovered that it improved the performance, but only by about 1 to 2 degrees. So is it worth the extra $75 for those fans that I used, which have, admittedly, we're talking about double the airflow and almost triple the static pressure? No. Spending $75 to swap out the fans on this model and on the Magic is a waste of your money. You're just not going to get enough in return. Now, if you choose one of the weaker Thermalright AIOs where the pump moves at 2300 and the fans are weaker and stuff like that, then yes. But if you run your frozen knot at a high RPM all the time, and you don't want it on a curve, you want it on a like 100% all the time, or whatever you can, you're not going to really hear the pump no matter what speed it's running at. It's very, very quiet. But as long as you're running it at a high speed, given all the other factors that make the frozen knot exceptionally well designed in many respects, there's no reason to get better fans. Now, it is also easy to install. The fans come pre-installed, so you don't have to monkey with putting them on there. You don't have to struggle with fan clips. You don't have to struggle with fan screws and accidentally misthreading it and stripping the hole. It also comes with a 3-to-1 splitter, so you can plug all of your fans into one header on your motherboard. And it also has a 3-pin to SATA pump power cable in case you would like to just have the pump run at maximum speed all the time, powered directly from the power supply, which is not actually a bad idea, except for the fact that you'll never get an alarm when the pump fails, if it fails. Now, what's next? The pump is very quiet, as I said. The fans under a normal load are quiet. Sometimes they produce a harmonic resonance tone, however. This did not happen in the beginning. It took a few months before that started to become an issue. So I want you to actually hear what the fans sound like. So I'm going to let you listen to them on normal load like right now, and I'm also going to let you hear them on maximum load where I'm pushing them really hard with Prime 95. So let's go ahead and do that real quickly. And here we go. So as you can see, they're not making very much noise. And that was with the microphone about this far from the fans. So now let me run a video. I'm going to turn off my volume here. And I'm going to run a video so that you can see what happens. Still not much noise, right? So let me just leave that running, and now I'm going to start Prime 95 with small FFTs, and let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so as you can hear, it's gotten pretty loud now. Now, is that still very loud? Not to my ears, but, I'm not the most sensitive person when it comes to noises. I'm not autistic, so I can filter it out. And I've learned to filter out noise over which I have no real control. So now I've got the plate on the front back on. The plate on the top is on. So from here, this is what you should be hearing. And this is about 2 feet away from the corner of my case, which is on the floor to my left. Now, if you put that on your computer desktop, it's going to sound louder than that. So let's go ahead and put the microphone 1 foot away from where the AIO is mounted. So yeah, you can see how for some people it would be obnoxious. To me, no, but maybe to you. So you can always set the fans on a curve that's going to keep everything cool without allowing it to overheat. Does that make sense? I certainly hope so. If it doesn't make sense, please let me know why you don't think it makes sense, because that would help me, and then maybe I can help you. Okay, so back to the list here. Now, pretty good deal, right? There are some downsides, okay? There's no maintenance port. So unless you can figure out a way to safely open it up, drain it, get any debris and biological matter out of it, and then close it back up after refilling it with the appropriate distilled water plus anti-corrosive plus biocide, you're going to have problems. In other words, once you start having problems where the AIO is not doing a good job of cooling anymore, and it's not because of the thermal paste between the CPU and the cold plate of the cooler, which is a problem for AIOs and air coolers, you may end up having to replace the whole thing. And this is my big beef, my really big gripe with Thermalright water coolers. As far as I can tell, and let me just double check real quickly. Okay, I did find one Thermalright product. It is the Thermalright Turbo-Right. Too dark, right? And that one has the ability to refill. You can unscrew the tubes from the radiator. They've got these really thin knurled things that fit into the radiator, and you can unscrew them so that you can maintain that one. Now, I didn't see it on Newegg. It was not in stock on Amazon, but it was listed on Amazon at $150. Let me see if there's anything in Google Shopping that will help me with that. Oh, come on. I didn't ask for anything else but Turbo-Right. Nope. Let me shorten the list. Okay. So I see it on Grooves, which is not a store I'm familiar with, but I did read some bad reviews about it, so I haven't used it yet. For $187. Let's see if there's anyone anywhere else that's got it. Nope. That's the only one I've been able to find. So it's significantly more expensive, but you can actually maintain it, and it's got an interesting looking AIO. The block. Some of the other Thermalright AIOs also have very interesting blocks with LEDs, LCD screens, like the Vision, and there's another one, the Warframe. Those both have LCD screens on the block. But we're talking about the Notte here, and now you know that the one maintainable AIO that they had isn't really available. Unfortunately, that's sad. But that's my big gripe with their products. It does make it very affordable. However, you're losing the ability to maintain it as a consequence. Now, another thing that's both good and bad is that the pump is on the tubes. It's not in the radiator. It's not in the block, both of which are good. It's good to avoid the radiator because of certain problems with the radiator unless you design it right so that it's never going to be exposed to air unless the radiator is basically empty anyways. And it's not really great to be on the block either because then it's being directly exposed to the very high heat of the CPU, which can cause it to wear out faster potentially. but they mounted it on the blocks with about this much space. Sorry, not on the block, on the tubes with this much space to the radiator. So it's too close to the radiator, and if you happen to mount it in a way that it's at the same level as the top of the radiator, as the radiator top is filling up with air, the pump is going to be too. So your pump's going to burn out. So if you cannot make sure that the pump is at a lower level, the tubes are like this, with the pump over here, and this is the top of the radiator. If you cannot make sure, you cannot top mount the tubes. You're going to have to flip it upside down and bottom mount it. Or top mount the whole thing, which isn't ideal. Front mount is better than top mount. Side mount is better than top mount. Right. So that's my secondary gripe. There's no VRM fan, but unless you're like doing really, really heat producing over hours and hours and hours every day work, you don't need a VRM fan. It's a nice thing to have, but it will not make a significant difference in performance for most of us. Now, the other big gripe that I have isn't specifically about this product. It's about Thermalright and their unwillingness online to provide full specifications. It's better on the box for some products, like this Frozen Notte and Frozen Magic. You get the fan specs on one side and the pump specs on the other side. Now that's the Magic Scenic V2. Here's the one that we're talking about. You get all those specs. You try looking on their website and you get a fraction of that, or on their sale listings. You get a fraction. And it's very vexing because there are some that you can find if you search around, but mostly you can't find the missing specs. So things that I couldn't find include the fan's lifespan, the radiator fin density, the thermal mass of the AIO, which ARGB systems it's compatible with, like Asus, MSI, ASRock, Gigabyte, Razer, and so on. The material that the tubes are made of. And I even wrote to Thermalright and they asked them what the material is. They said, it's not important. I wrote back and I said, yes, it is important. And they never bothered to respond back, which is not a good sign. Also, it doesn't tell you what the outside and inside diameter of the tube is, which is important for understanding how quickly the water can flow through the loop. So this is a TR problem, or Thermalright problem, that is very irritating when I'm trying to fill in my database with information. Thermalright is one of the companies that gets on under my skin because they don't provide the information I need. So that is a summary of the pros and cons of the unit. If you have any questions, if you feel there's something that I forgot in this summary, would you please put it in the comments so that I can get back to you? Also, please like, subscribe, share. Now let's move on to looking at the specifications that I was able to collect, as well as the testing results that I have for you today. Right, so let's take a look at the specifications and the results of the testing that I've done on this particular AIO. And this is the first one that I have evaluated this way thus far. It is called the Frozen Notte 360 millimeter black ARGB all-in-one CPU liquid cooler. A mouthful, really. And I paid about $70 for it. It's got a CPU block that is black and silver. The tubes are black, and they are sleeved. The cables are black, no sleeving. The radiator is black. The fan frame is black. The fan blades are black. It is compatible with LGA 1150 series, 1200, 2011, 2066, and 1700 series. For AMD, it's compatible with AM2, AM2 Plus, AM3, AM3 Plus, AM4, AM5, FM1, FM2, FM2 Plus. And it is certified CE, ROHS, EAC, and RCM. Made in China. It does not have a rotatable block or block cover, unfortunately. You can only really mount that. Well, it doesn't really make a difference that you can't rotate it, because the important part is that the tubes can be reoriented. So you're able to mount it with the tubes facing in any direction you want. And there's no LED display. So really, the only thing that's going to irritate some people is, I don't know. I can't really think of one. The tubes are rotatable on the block. Here on a 90-degree connector, or a 90-degree elbow connected to the inlets or outlets, or whatever you want to call them. There is no refill system. There's no maintenance system for this device, which is very unfortunate. There is no information on radiator fin density. Similarly, there is no information on thermal mass. So it would be nice if to have that information, because really it helps to evaluate the quality, or not really the quality, but the potential performance of it. The CPU block is made of copper plate, some other kinds of metal which are not specified, and plastic. I'm going to assume at this point that behind the copper plate it is aluminum. And I say that because the radiator is aluminum, and if they're mixing copper and aluminum and they need to have an anti-corrosion liquid inside, if they don't have that in there, eventually the corrosion will destroy some of the metal, causing the system to stop working or to leak, or both. The tubes are made of an unidentified rubber. I did ask them what the rubber is. They declined to let me know. They said it was not important, and I said it is important, but they didn't respond. The fans are TL-E12B-S, which I think is part of their Extreme line. The full dimensions are approximately 397 by 120 by 52. The radiator by itself is the same, except it's 27 instead of 52. The CPU block is 85 by 72 by 54. The fans, now this is all in metric, all in millimeters. The fans are 120 by 120 by 25, and the fan diameter is about 110 millimeters. The tube length is 450, and the outside diameter, which is not published, I used calipers to find this information, is 0.5 and 0.5 inches. I forgot to put that down as the measurement in millimeters. So in metric, that would be 11 millimeters. The inside diameter also is not indicated, but the weight is not indicated either. So I had to weigh it myself, and including the mounting bracket for my particular CPU was 1,860 grams. All right, so the pump has a MTTF, or lifespan, of 40,000 hours. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but given the apparent performance of this device, again, I'm going to speculate as far as the quality is concerned, because I don't know if the facility where it's made is clean. I don't know about the quality of the rubber. I don't know whether the facility, if they're cleaning it before they fill it up, and if they use proper biocide and anti-corrosion agents, if there's different metals in the loop. So 40,000 hours and a 6-year warranty. But there's no MTTF for the fans themselves, only for the pump. And there is no VRM fan, which is not a big deal because most people don't even need a VRM fan. The pump has ARGB. The fan has nothing, or the fans have nothing. I'm sorry, that's not true. The fans, what am I thinking? The fans are ARGB as well. I don't know why I forgot to put that in there. So the fans are ARGB, and unfortunately, there's no information about what the compatibility is. Now, I have an ASUS motherboard, so I know that the lights in the fans and in the pump work with ASUS Armory Crate, but I only know that from experience. So it's unfortunate, but they don't see fit to release a lot of information about their products, and it's a very frustrating thing. The maximum RPMs is 5,300 plus or minus 10%. Noise is maximum of about 28. The cables are for the fan itself are 46.5 centimeters. There's no daisy chaining unless you use the included splitter. So we could, technically we can say yes if you use the splitter. They are not, and they are. Some of the cables are sleeved. The one for the pump is sleeved, and that's what we're actually talking about here. So I'm sorry. Getting myself all confused. I forgot that the green above is for the pump. So they're not it's not daisy chainable because there's only one pump, and there's no reason to daisy chain it with anything else. You certainly don't want to daisy chain it with the fans because you want the pump running at a constant speed and the fans should be running at a variable speed. The pump cable is sleeved. It is a 3-pin DC connector, and the RGB cable is 58 centimeters long. It is daisy chainable and sleeved. And in fact, when I initially used this product, I was daisy chaining all 3 fans and the pump lights together. And again, it uses standard ARGB. The bearing is ceramic, 12 volts, 1.5 watts, 0.12 amps, 1,500 flow rate, 1,500 milliliters per minute. And the maximum lift or head is 1.6 meters. So that's really, really pretty powerful. There is no VRM fan, so we can skip that part and go right over here. The fans again are the TL-E12B-S. There are 7 blades on this. The mounting holes are 105 millimeters apart. The fan speed is a maximum of 2,000 plus or minus 10%. Airflow is maxed out at 72.37 CFMs, or cubic feet per minute. Static pressure maxes out at 2.87 millimeters of water. The fan noise is up to 27.7. That's where they get most of the 28 from before. I'm pretty sure because the pump is very, very quiet on its own. And the control cable for the fans is 31 centimeters long. It is not daisy chainable unless you use the splitter. That's where I need to change that. And they're not sleeved. I don't know why I marked it that way. Hold on a second. Let me just double check here. Sorry about that. Yes, they are sleeved. And then the fan uses the fans use PWM 4-pin connection, and the bearing is, interestingly enough, SFDB version 2, which I assume is specific to Thermalright because I haven't seen it anywhere else yet. The S really doesn't mean much of anything, so you don't have to pay attention to that. The voltage of the fans is 12 volts, 2.16 watts, 0.18 amps. And there is no indicator of rotation or flow, but they do turn in a clockwise direction. And the device comes with 12 regular screws and 12 radiator screws, the CPU mounts, as well as the corner cushions, which are pre-installed, and there's the 3-way 51 centimeter splitter, 3-way to 3 to 1. So it splits to 1, and then it comes with a SATA to 3-pin, or really 2-pin actually, 24 centimeter cable for powering the pump. And it comes with thermal paste, which is called TF-7, and it's very nice. And that is all there is for the specs. All right, now moving along to my testing using the thermal knot. You can, I haven't actually filled in all this data here, and I may have to redo some of my testing because I have learned that when there's enough of a difference in temperatures from one test to the next, or one test series to the next, one configuration to the next, it doesn't correlate well. They don't correlate well with each other. So if you do it, I did a test at 24 degrees Celsius, and I did the same test again at 28 degrees Celsius. And what I discovered was that the temperatures that I'd got at 28 degrees Celsius, in my room that is, were not 4 degrees higher than the temperatures I'd seen at 24 degrees for the CPU, but more like 9 degrees higher. So, not exactly a good thing to see that difference. And so if we look at this, it's a little bit confusing. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take the position that so far from my testing is apparently the best for both the CPU, GPU, and it's not really relevant, not really important, I should say, but also the motherboard and the VRM, or VRMs, I should say. So that would be with the CPU mounted on the side of the case with the tubes going down and it exhausting air out of the case. Now maybe you're thinking, well, why is that going to work better than having the air be pushed into the case? Well, honestly, it doesn't necessarily make a giant difference, because if you look at my list here, you can see that all of the side-mounted configurations are in the top of the list, including that one there. And then the bottom of the list is top and front. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that all of them are bad. Now, you can say that for to about actually, I think to about there, you can say that those are less desirable. But we're talking about between these 4 and these 3, only 1 degree of difference. And then between those 3 and the next 2, only 1 degree of difference. And between those and the next one, 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree. And here we get a jump to 2 degrees and then 1 degree. If we look up here, we see 59. But what I did is I took the mesh, the dust filters off of the front and the top of the case and just left the top open with no glass on it, completely open. And then the side, actually, I left the mesh on when I took the glass off. I did try it in other ways, in different positions, to see what would happen. And this was the only one where it really made a significant difference for the most part. I mean, you can look here at this one, in which the top was blocked off, and the side, it was mounted on the side, and the front was open, and that was pretty good. It was 4 degrees hotter, but still pretty good. I'd like to thank Grinler at Bleeping Computer for allowing me to share my videos and posts on his website. Bleeping Computer has a lot of resources, including vetted programs, malware removal instructions, malware removal volunteers, other kinds of volunteers for IT, cybersecurity information, and more. It's a great place to go. Give it a try. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.